Okay. Good afternoon, all. Nice to see so many friendly faces present. Welcome to our live session on framing and engaging. My name is Johanna Harjunpää, and I will be facilitating this event together with my colleague Helene Kannegaard from Denmark. I'm based in Helsinki, and I work for Fingo, which is the Finnish development NGOs, national umbrella organization for development NGOs. Can you also spotlight Helene? Not sure where she's hiding, but nice to see you all. Yes, great.
I'm here, but I'm not spotlighted, I think.
Okay, great. You now you're spotlighted. I was feeling a little bit lonely here in the middle of it all. So do you want to present yourself, Helene?
Yes, I will do. I'm, as Johanna told you, that I'm Helene Kannegaard from Denmark. I'm representing SISU, a platform for society organization here in Denmark. And in the Frame Voice report program, we took lead. And I think that's everything from me.
Yeah,
for now.
And we were, as Fingo, we were participating in the Frame Voice report project, which is already history, at least from our part, not necessarily. We're waiting for last OKs from the donor. But so Frame Voice report project was a 3-year fund for civil society organizations. And we have been funding 177 projects across Europe. We are with SISU and Fingo and 5 other organizations from Italy, France, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, and I forgot someone. Did I?
I don't know. You said France and Italy? Yeah, I think
I did. Yeah. Well, 7 countries in Europe. We have funded small and middle-sized NGOs doing their own global citizenship education and development communication projects. So the idea was to strengthen awareness and engagement among EU citizens in relation to the global goals. So we were a 3-year project, and we did so many nice things in the project. We wanted to get this opportunity to also share what we have learned and what our great grantees across Europe have produced and what they have learned in their projects. And we have also here today Ernst Jan Struijs, who is from the Wilde Ganzen from the Netherlands, and he was also the project manager for the national FVR project. And then we have 3 special guests from our grantee organizations in Italy, Denmark, and Finland. So we have Mara Costanzo, Camila Legendre, and Maria Utela, who will be giving presentations on their projects and talking about what they have done and what they have learned. We'll be hearing from them a little bit later on. Do we have any technical guidelines for the beginning of the session?
Yes, I think I'll take care of that part. Just keep your microphone turned off, preferably the camera turned on, so we can see who's here in the room and have a dialogue on what we'll show and tell. And I think we will use the chat for comments, or we will. And if anything is important to raise in plenum, we will take it up, and if necessary, we will ask the person commenting on elaborating. I think that's it. Should I show the program, Johanna, or did you have any?
Please do.
I will just have to share my screen here. And the purpose of this day is that we want to inspire more people to use some of these methods that we have been using in the Frame Voice report program, because they are we have seen in our program that they have been very constructive of what do you say, on creating engagement and awareness around the global goals. So we think that many more CSOs can be inspired by this and have some I don't know, it's a good idea to look at some of these methods. Yes, I'll just have to find out how to shift slide. There it goes. Okay, first we have this introduction that we're having now, and then we will show a little appetizer, a little video, and it's the first time it's been shown to public because it's just
it was just like 15 seconds ago.
15 seconds ago that it was finalized. So I just got to see it, but I'm very excited about showing it to all of you.
I haven't seen it.
Exactly. I haven't even shown my colleagues yet. So I hope they will appreciate it too.
Yeah, so this is actually the world premiere of this video.
Premiere of this little video. And then we have an introduction to framing by Junction. He will tell us a little bit about this theory behind framing and how to apply it in the organization. And then we'll have one case example from Italy and one case example from Finland, going around how they have used this framing tool in their project. Then we have a little group discussion and reflection. And then we will introduce you, then we will have a break, like halfway through more or less. When we had come back from the break, Johanna will lead you through an exercise and an introduction to the engagement pyramid, which we have also used in the Frameworks report project and can be used in how to like create your project and how to monitor doing the way, how to sharpen how you will reach your target groups. So we will make a little introduction to this pyramid. And then we have an engagement exercise and finally Q&As. But as I told you before, we can also have Q&As during the way. You can just put them in the chat and we will take them up. Yeah. I think now it's time for the video then. Alan, would you share that? Yeah. Should I stop sharing here first?
It should stop automatically once the video is there.
Values.
Just a second.
They sometimes seem Values. They sometimes seem as if they were just intellectual concepts. Words with no deeper meaning than what we try to give them. But values are deeply ingrained in all of us. Even if we do not notice, they have the power.
Helena, did you see this video already? It's a surprise for you as well.
How we decide to live.
I'm a little surprised about the introduction, but
organizations they're a part of. Values are not just values.
And it's actually, while you're figuring it out, Ellen, I can say a little bit more about the video because it's mostly about values, and maybe
they can be mapped in a way where they
values and framing has to do with each other. And the connection here is that when you frame your stories and the way you tell your stories, then you put different values into
a given value. Automatically suppresses values at the other side of the
values, but this video is.
It has been proven that if you use, say, or communicate, for example, equality, your audience also feels inclined to support the environment and help the people around.
As I forgot to say in the beginning, we are now, everything we are talking about are the tools and the approaches that we have used in the Frameworks report project.
Public image. So what to do if you want to strengthen the values you are working for? It's
by
not
our grantees.
Identify your important values. Which pictures, words, and metaphors those values?
Share the video.
But the video was shown while you spoke, actually.
No, I didn't.
Yes, we have two screens, so it was actually shown already. We were watching it.
Oh my God!
Could you hear it?
No, I didn't
hear it. No, I didn't hear it.
Oh,
Did somebody hear it?
Actually, we were hearing the video.
Okay.
So we could hear you both the video and your comments. It was a little bit difficult to get, but it was both online.
Okay, I wasn't seeing the video.
No.
We can reshare it. It's only 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, let's.
We will
reshare
it. Yes.
Is that okay?
Reshare.
And then we will shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry, some little technical issues on the way are inevitable, but we are on the way. Okay, once again, sorry.
Values. They sometimes seem as if they were just intellectual concepts. Words with no deeper meaning than what we try to give them. But values are deeply ingrained in all of us. Even if we do not notice, they have the power to guide us and create realities. They synthesize how we decide to live, what we spend our time on, and how we shape the projects and organizations we are a part of. Values are not just values, but the stories behind them. Time for some theory. We all hold values. They can be mapped in a way where they are close to each other and can form groups. Now here's the deal. When you address a value, it strengthens the values around it. Likewise, if your story promotes a given value, it automatically suppresses values that are at the other side of the values map. It has been proven that if you use, say, or communicate, for example, equality, your audience also feels inclined to support the environment and help the people around them. At the same time, if one of your core values is unity with nature, it would be problematic to communicate a value from the opposite side of the map, like social power or public image. So, what to do if you want to strengthen the values you are working for? It's not hard. First, identify your important values. Which pictures, words, and metaphors strengthen those values? Finally, use them while communicating.
So some of you now have seen this video twice, but as we say in the Finnish language, there is a proverb that repetition is the mother of learning. So at least some of you now have seen this twice. Yeah. Do you want to say something more about this, Helen?
No, I think we'll just let it stay there.
Let it sink.
Let it sink. Yes, exactly. And then, John, the floor is all yours.
Okay,
And
thank you very
just
much.
tell me when to slide. Just say slide.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Helen, to go to the next slide, I think,
Yes.
as a start. Okay, this was the video, and now the other
There
one.
you go.
Okay, what is framing actually? That was my purpose of being here. And framing has everything to do with values, of course. It is important to know your values before you start framing. Yeah, this is just a picture. While the facts seem clear, it was obvious everyone seeing something completely different. So we don't see the same things. We do not see the same things in the same pictures, nor we hear the same things in the words we hear. Can I have the next slide, please, Helen? So this is just one picture, and I'm just showing you the first stories. The first story in this picture. It is all about the frame that you see around it. If you frame this picture like that, you see a big high-rise building, probably a wealthy city. The next slide, please. But if you show the bottom part of this picture, you see slums and you see poverty and you see environmental pollution. It's a completely different story. And if you show then the whole picture, you see that there are different realities just in one picture. So it's important how you draw the lines and how you define what is the frame. Now we go to how we use framing in general and what is framing, the definition of framing. So a frame is a coherent narrative about a certain topic. So it's a good story, so to say. Next slide, please. Next slide. It's a narrative about problems, causes, consequences, solutions, and it has moral judgment in them. And there your values come in. It's in these moral judgments we can only do on base of the values we cherish. Next one. And the next one. Yeah, frames manifest themselves through words, images, arguments, metaphors, underlying reasons. The words we use are very important. How do we refugees welcome, war on drugs? These are all frames that are applied. All that glitters is not gold. These are all the war on drugs. It says already that drugs are bad and a risk for us, and etc. Refugees welcome says that we should welcome refugees. So it's a frame on the other side. Next one. These frames appear on different locations. They appear all the time in our news, in magazines, on television, on the internet, on different places we see different frames occurring. Next point. Very important is to realize, because sometimes we hear this, framing is considered to be something negative, but we all do frame. We have to frame, otherwise we would not be understandable, would not be possible. So it is important to realize that everybody uses frames to tell their stories. Otherwise, these stories wouldn't even work at all. Next slide. For instance, this was a famous news picture, and I don't know how it was in your country, but in our country, somehow it is funny. These are refugees looking for signal, for some connection, to send a message with their mobile phones. Mobile phones occur to be the most important things, and somehow, at least in the Netherlands, that was the case. People were angry about the fact that refugees were coming to us and they were having mobile phones that suggested some kind of richness or something like that. So you see that we all have many pictures, and if we do not frame, we do not define what's in these pictures and in these stories we tell, they don't work. Next one. Yes, I would like to share with you this in the chat. I will share this with you. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong. Wait a moment. A little test for you to do, just in a second. I have to get the link.
Do you need help, Ernst-Jan?
No, I just had to copy the link in. I just lost it. I don't know why.
Okay.
This is the form. And I would like to ask you all to fill out the form, thinking about how do you frame your own work as an organization. And just do that for yourself for this very moment. If you're done, please say it in the chat.
And we will not use this for anything. It's just for your own. Yeah. It's just an exercise.
And the reply comes back to you by email. I see the first dance coming in. Maybe let's wait for some more.
A little music would have been good here.
Yes.
But I'll not start singing. Awful.
I can always unmute myself and you can listen to my puppy making some noises here.
Now the dons are coming in. Many dons. Great. Yeah. I think we are good to go, Helen. So let's move to the next slide. So the frames, the question was that what is the frame that you use mostly in your own work, your organization? There's quite a resource of research that we present as well on the website we made after the project, or yeah, after the project, a training website which you can find probably in the post later on. There are several frames that are used by most organizations that are engaged in international cooperation. The first one is the victim frame. This is a frame in which poverty is not caused by the people themselves, and they are just victim of poverty. It's a frame that operates a lot with let's say, with hungry people, showing people that have no power themselves. Then you have the social justice frame, in which it's poverty is caused by social injustice. So what we need to restore is social justice, and therefore, yeah, and that will help solve the problem. There's another, the blame us frame, which is the frame where, in which, yeah, let's say we are the cause of all the everything that happened. This frame is, for instance, in case of climate change, it's very often used, like the fact that we use so much energy in the West causes people in the global South to deal with much more severe impacts than we do. There's as well the progress frame, which actually suggests that poverty is caused by a lack of progress. So people need to develop. We need to develop the global South in order to avoid poverty. And then there's the global village frame, in which yeah, everybody is actually together in this. We are living on one planet, and as a consequence, we need each other. In the test, you probably got a reply back, and it indicates one of these letters that you use mostly. Just maybe for fun purpose, share the letter that is dominantly in your reply in the chat, so we have a little bit of an overview of what yeah, what are the what was your result, what was your letter.
So people should open the email that they got from the system and then put in the result.
The result, yeah. Oh, an E.
And we will not be judging or commenting on that, just to be curious. And as Ernst-Jan said, there is no like right and wrong answer. It's just to be conscious. So we will not be making any let's say, judgments on you.
It looks like it's the social justice frame and the global village frame that it's most.
It's most dominant.
Yeah, dominant, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, B, D. Yeah, great. Thank you very much. I hope that was. I think that was it from me, Helen. Introduction into framing. What is framing, and what does it mean actually, and how can you use it ultimately?
Yes, and in the end of this session, we will share a little handout or link to a handout, and here you can go and you can push the different things that's in the handout, and you can learn a lot more about framing if you look into the tools that we have developed.
Yeah, and in the online toolkit we prepared as well, there is a lot of exercises as well related to values, frames. So it's a lot of. Some people didn't receive their. Did you push the send button?
Or maybe it could have gone to the junk email.
Junk mail can is possible. So, yeah.
I think we should go to you, Johanna. Now you will present the next part, right?
Yes, but what I will be presenting is our next speaker, who is Mara Costanzo from Italy. Welcome. She will be sharing her experience from project, and I think we have not met with Mara earlier before this event, so I will let her present herself.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Yeah, my name is Mara Costanzo. I work in Italy for an NGO called Engine, and we were grantees in the Frame Voice report together with other local organizations. And I'm here to present you our project, which is called Storie Interrotte. As you can see in the shared screen, it means interrupted stories. History is at the border between Sahel and Europe. This is the translation of what you see. It's important for me to start from this, because this is actually the product that you can still see online, and it's still a very good resource for us. We are still using it a lot. This is a cross-media product that we have created with together with other two main partners. What I would like to focus on regarding this product is mainly, of course, regarding framing, is that all the partners agreed that it was very important to let's say go further in the communication, to change the narrative about migration, and to change also the perception, and to try to help people to have another perception, go beyond victimization and hopeless cases that our media show about migrants, and the stories, very simplified stories, and try to go in depth and exploring the complexity of the migration phenomenon. I started with the partnership because it was very important to us, working with the organizations that are facing the migration phenomenon from different point of views. It means the NGIM, my NGO, is working in the development cooperation in Mali. Another organization, who is Rainbow for Africa, is working as a health emergency NGO. So they work in emergency context, mainly focusing on health issues. And the third organization working to this project was a social enterprise here of our territory of Torino Piemonte, a civil society organization working with migrants and with asylum seekers for resettlement of asylum seekers in our territory. So we had different frames, and we had different experiences in in collecting and dealing with stories of migrations. And we tried to put it together with the help of two journalists who are actually experts in migration issues and also in the North West African and Sahel geopolitical situation. And so having the support of these two journalists with a very strong background was also a very strong point of our project. And what did we do? We actually started to tell personal stories of migrations from starting from the first video. This is what you are seeing now from a small village in the region of Kai, which is the region of Mali where the majority of migrants coming to Europe are originally from. And just going there and showing what's the reality of people living there in the more participated way. So trying, as I was saying, to go over the simplified story and to catch real histories, stories from people. Then the second video, if you go, go on in the page, will show you the story of one student that from the small village leaves the small village to go. You can continue. Yes, this is the second video. Leaves the small village. You also can see the map there of Mali. From the small village to the capital in order to study in a secondary school. And already in contact with many relatives and friends who are already in France and who already took the decision of migrating and the path of migration. And so his story is shown, and he's interviewed with in his daily life, in his daily hopes, in his daily wishes for his future. And then the narratives change because the third video is to take place here in Italy, actually in a small mountain city. It's called Hulk, and shows another interrupted story, which is the story of migrants that are looking for were trying to cross the border Italy-France and to go to France through the mountains. So what happens to migrants when they reach Italy? Italy mainly, most of the time, is not the final destination for them. So they try to go on with their own story of life, with their own travel, and to cross the border. But mountains are a very tough journey to them because they are normally prepared for this journey. So we have another kind of story here that continues and goes on with the fourth video, which is related again to our territory, to Piemonte territory, and it's the experience of this Cooperativa Orso, which is one of the partner of the project, who is dealing with a very interesting resettlement project for asylum seekers, which is called MAD, micro resettlement. So it's a very good experiment of how to support the integration and the living in Italy of asylum seekers. So we've got the overall process starting from a very small village in Mali, reaching Italy and the settlement in a new context, with all is shown with a very starting from a very personal story. And between one story and another one, so we have another section of this website who is actually collecting other media experience that we had, so a podcast in a web radio, Some articles in a newspaper, in a weekly newspaper here in Italy, all linked to this Storie Interrotte project. And most of all, this overall experience was used for workshops in secondary schools here in Italy, and also in youth centers. And we reached with this directly with the workshops more than 1,000 young people in this experience of getting in touch with these interrupted stories. So the point of, let's say, the focus that we wanted to show you is actually the cross-mediality and the partnership and the importance of the partnership and the importance of, for us, the strength of telling personal stories and changing the frame of from hopeless to and victimization of migrants to very active and complex people that are actually on their way, and so we show you the way also in this program. I don't know if I was clear, and I don't know if I went over my 5 minutes, but I'm here to listen to the other also experiences, and if I can also to answer to some questions.
Thank you, Mara. That was so inspiring to listen to your experiences.
Sorry, I see a very nice comment. So they say they're using our page to teach Italian somehow. I don't know how. It's nice to hear.
That's nice to hear. Nice to get feedback from your target group, direct feedback, which is actually something that I wanted to ask you about. So also, if you have any questions, you can write them on the chat or ask for to
raise your hand.
Yes, raise your hand. The real one or the virtual one. So I wanted to ask Mara, like, what kind of feedback did you get from this material from the that you produced? Did you hear some experiences here or feedback from your audience who have been seeing the videos and reading your articles?
Well, the newspaper that was publishing our articles is a very well-known newspaper here in Italy, and both the journalists that are Andrea De Giorgio and Annalisa Camilli are both two well-known journalists in their field. So let's say their professional skills and also their knowledge of the topic was really important, because the products are complex in the right way, complex but are very nice, very understandable also for a non-expert and a let's say previously informed about the topic. The feedback we got more directly were from the students that were and the young people that were involved in our workshops, where we use this as a tool. The video were shown, and also we had the experience of a migrant, of an asylum seeker coming with us in the classes or in the meetings in order to further talk about personal experiences. And this is always something that changes the frame, as my colleague was telling before. So we are not talking about general phenomenon. We are talking about people that are feelings as you have and desires as you have. And this is normally something that may make a click in the minds of also people that are normally non-interested in this kind of topic. Because when it comes to real life and real people, even if you could meet them in the street every day, because or they are your neighbor or your I don't know, your classmate, but sometimes you don't really get the opportunity of to be touched by the feelings also, because I think we have a lot of inputs and a lot of things coming to us. So also having the opportunity to let something in your emotional sphere is also something very delicate And I think we could do it with the project, and it was a good result.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things that we are actually here to talk about, that what kind of feelings and emotions we raise in our audience and what that leads into. Are there any other questions or comments to Mara? Unfortunately, she can't be with us until the end of the session, but if you have any other ideas that come up to you, I'm sure we can find a way to deliver this message to her. Thank you so much for coming today and sharing your experiences. Next, I would like to invite to the stage a grantee from Finland, Maria Utela from Interpedia. She will be talking about her experiences in their project. And actually, I know Maria and I know their project, and I can spoil you a little bit saying that it's very inspiring and very impressive what they have done. And they have, for example, produced a checklist for ethical communication, and it's being used by Fingo, at least, in producing our materials. So it's very, very useful and very inspiring. I think I will ask Helena to share the presentation again, and then I will give the floor to Maria and ask her to please tell us something about yourself first, and then go on to the presentation.
I will share the presentation when you have presented yourself, Maria.
Okay. Yes, my name is Maria Utela and I work for Interpedia. I am a communications officer here, and we participated in Framevoice report starting in 1918, and we have this one-year project called Whose Voice. And so maybe we can start with the presentation. The name of the project was called Whose Voice? Perspectives on Ethical Communications in Development Issues. And well, maybe a few words about Interpedia. We work in 7 countries, but the biggest projects we have are in Ethiopia and in Nepal. And in this project, we were working with a Nepalese organization. So can I have the next slide, please? So we had like 2 main lines in this project and 2 goals. And the first one was to really show how our partner organization in Nepal called CWISH, that is Children and Women in Social Services and Human Rights, how they have been working to reduce child exploitation of child labor in Nepal. That has been a big problem in Nepal for a long time, and CWISH has worked a lot, especially with the child domestic workers in Kathmandu Valley. And in this project, we were trying to show people how many different kinds of approaches they have had when they have been working to reduce. They have been working with schools, and they have been working with they have been raising awareness among in communities and in families, and they have been working with politicians and lawmakers and other CSOs and so on. So it has been a very effective and very impressive history that this organization has. And one of the main goals we had in this was to show that it's not something that we are the experts and we are taking our expertise to Nepal. It's the Nepalese, and we are like privileged to be able to work together with them to work to achieve change. And another goal we had in this process was to try to find new perspectives or new ways to portray children that are in a very vulnerable situation in our communications, and also in the media. We were working with the journalist and a photographer, and we had very fruitful discussions along the way during this project. So please, next slide. Yes. So what we did was we made a documentary about the work to reduce child labor in Nepal. That's about 16 minute documentary that we have on our YouTube site. It's in English and Nepalese, and unfortunately the subtitles are Finnish or in Swedish. But you can have a look on our YouTube site if you want to see some of it. Then we organized 2 seminars. First, we organized a seminar in Kathmandu with the local CSOs and journalists, and we were talking about the ways children are presented in media and also CSO communications, and we were trying to. We had very good discussions about the ethical standards and privacy policies in CSO communications and in media as well. And another seminar we had in Finland, that was in Tampere University, and that was towards the end of our project, and we had some researchers and students also participating in this seminar. And then at the end of the project, we made this checklist on ethical communications. I think we've all seen several guidelines for ethical use of images and stories, but they are very often like tens and hundreds of pages long, and so we wanted to make a tool for our everyday use, something very precise and easy to use, and put on our walls to remind us what kind of questions we need to ask ourselves when we are posting pictures of vulnerable children and when we are posting stories of children in our communications. So this is one goal that we achieved. And then we also made some global education material for secondary schools and high schools. And at the end, we also had a communications campaign where we were presenting, telling stories of people working at our partner organization Sea-Wish, and also we had stories from former child laborers, and we had stories from politicians and teachers and social workers and so on, and to really look into the ways the Nepalese themselves are working to reduce the use of child labor. So maybe we can proceed. This communications campaign, we tried to show that there are so many different ways to work to make the change. And we also included some empowering stories of former child laborers who are, for example, there's this one woman in the middle on the right. She used to be a child domestic worker, and nowadays She is like a trained child carer, and she's also working for. She's also part of the board of Sea-Wish at the moment. So she's really trying to work to promote the rights of child domestic workers right now. And then maybe we can move on. Then we have this global education material that is still used. It is the teachers can upload the material from our website and use them in the teaching. We also had organized some workshops in schools ourselves. And with this material, we are also presenting the basics of framing, and we are trying to teach, help the pupils to see beyond the frames and think about the privacy policy of children here in Finland and in other countries. Like, is it similar? What the situation is like if the child is in a very vulnerable situation, and the responsibility we all have. And also this material talks about the images the media use, so and what kind of messages these pictures and stories are sending in our media. So those were the main parts of the projects. And if you have any questions, please.
Thank you. I don't see any questions in the chat, so you still have a chance to raise your hand. Maybe I can ask you the same question that I asked Mara. I would always like to hear on the feedback or the response that your work has had on the target audience or on the people that you are trying to reach.
Well, what was interesting was that this campaign in social media that we had, the response to I have to confess that we don't have much feedback usually if we are communicating about our development cooperation projects, for example, that we don't get much feedback. But I have to say that I was positively surprised that we got some good response to these posts that we had. We had stories from these different people trying to influence, trying to achieve change in Nepal, and that was quite nice to get some response. And at schools, I didn't take part in those workshops. My colleagues went to schools with this material, and they were telling me that in some schools the young people are very aware of these kinds of questions and very critical towards media and the presentation of different issues that they see in the media. And in some schools, they didn't get much feedback at all. So it kind of, that was an interesting experience, actually, that maybe in some schools, the atmosphere is very very aware, and in some schools, the pupils are very used to discussing complex issues in the world. So that was one experience we had.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It's always inspiring to hear from the experiences of the grantees in such a grassroots level, and also like now it's been some time since you had this project, so you have some time to reflect on the things that have happened since. There are some really nice comments in the chat thanking Maria for interesting presentation and doing the right things also. So thank you. Next, we'll have a chance to reflect with each other. We'll have a brief discussion in groups about the kind of frames that you see or identify from your work. You had a chance to reflect on that with the questionnaire that Ernst Jan earlier shared with you, but now you can maybe reflect on the results you got from that, Ernst Jan's presentation, and the examples that we heard from Finland and Italy doing using frames in the practical work. So just we'll randomly divide you in groups. So just please, there is no, will not be, you don't need to report back from the groups in a structured way. We'll of course ask if you have something to share, but you can just discuss what you heard so far and maybe reflect on your own work regarding the kind of frames that you can identify in your work. We'll have some 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less.
We will have until 1:05. You will be come back here, and yes, and then we'll do a little wrap up in comment about the frames theory and use in your organization. Yes, but Ricardo, can you please divide us into groups, and yes.